Welcome back to Alchemy Studio. My name is Neil. I am a web designer specifically looking at the boutique hotel website niche. Today we're going to be looking at a homepage and we're going to look at different ways to increase conversions. So let's just jump straight into the computer and we're going to have a quick refresh here. That one. This is Ormond, the Chow Kit. Love that little animation there. Very inviting. If we get there, we're going to load. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. Right, so the first problem I'm seeing is that there isn't any contrast, specifically with the call to actions. So if you look on the top right, you've got book now. Now that would be the main thing that you want anyone to do on your hotel website because you want them to book straight away with you. Problem here is that book now is disappearing into everything else. It's not standing out from the text in the header. It's not standing out above luxury simplified or this paragraph here. And regarding the image, you've got this big yellow light in the middle of the image, which is the edge of the bed. That is taking all of my attention. So the first thing is first would be to put an actual button that looks like a button so I know as the browser on your website where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do. The secondly would be actually the typography of that button. I would have made it the same as the Chow Kit or these buttons here. Because this looks like it's a display font and it's a serif. Is it sans serif or serif? It's a serif font. I always get these mixed up. It's a serif font, which by nature are a little bit thin with some fat bits, and this looks like a display one, so it's meant to be quite large. And the problem is when you shrink it down, it kind of disappears into everything. So not only make the button look like a button, have a contrasting color, use a font that is highly recognizable but readable. It doesn't disappear anywhere. And if you were going to make it the same font as the header and the menu here, I would go two weights above what this is. So let's say this menu here is regular. I would have made the button font, the weight of it, regular. Then I think you get, it depends on the type, the font that you pick, but regular, medium, bold. Go two above, whichever one you take here. So if it was, let's say, regular, medium, was it semi-bold? Yeah, so regular, semi-bold, bold. You would even maybe go black or semi-black if you've got all of these weights. So that'd be the first thing to increase conversion on the hero section here. The next thing is this best rate guarantee. So book direct to get rates, to get great rates. Okay, if you find a lower rate, blah, 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 especially then get in touch with us and we'll give you 10% discount off your booking. A lovely idea, a really lovely idea, but I then have to do a secondary step to try to get the 10% discount if there's a differentiation in the price. Why not just put across all of the online travel booking agents your price, and then so everything's the same, and then on the website directly, book direct with us, receive 10% discount. So you're not giving away part of that money that would come in from booking.com or wherever. They're not taking that 20%, which some of them are more. You're only losing 10% on a direct booking, so you're going to get more there. And also make it a little bit more stand out, need more contrast. I should be looking up here. This is what you want. You want more direct bookings. But anyway, now let's look at the design. How would we alter this to increase a conversion? Firstly, I would not have had this big block of beige here covering half, almost literally half of the image. Half is somewhere here. It's almost half of the image is covering. And it's not a very inviting image either. You've got to sell the feeling of being in this hotel. So I don't know enough about this hotel, but I imagine the bedrooms will be quite beautiful, or maybe the lobby area is stunning. Maybe you could get a beautiful cityscape of where the hotel is. there could be multiple options to increase my visual wow factor and make me want to be here and make me want to book. The edge of a bed, albeit it looks like a very nice bed and a very nice light as well. I love the design of it, but it's not inviting enough for me to want to explore more. So now let's scroll a little bit further down. And just if you notice the header, which a lot of websites do this, which is fine because you get more screen real estate, excuse me, it shrinks. And the problem there is that the booking button has shrunk as well. So maybe take the booking button off, make it a standalone part that never alters even as you scroll. You always know, see, as I scroll here, it's not disappearing, but it's not also standing out at any point. But anyway, move on. I digress. Luxury simplified. Okay, very large block of text. I would instantly try to cut this to here. What is that? So that's two sentences. Yeah, I would cut that to 2 sentences. See if you can reduce that straight away. And then as we come, there was some animation there. So I'm just going to quickly reload this. See if my internet's working better. There we go. So let's scroll down. Welcome to ChowKit. Nice animation. That's not really going to help in conversion. Again, simplify this. I'm not going to sit here and read it, but could you save me time reading that to get me into the website to book? That's the thought here. Okay, that was an interesting one. So if we're going to quickly redo this because you might have missed that. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so if you noticed here, this image in the bottom left was the last animation on this section. Now, animations are great, but if you think in order of the animation, the first animation and the last animation, you want this last animation. That is going to be the first thing that will register in my brain. So my eye directly went to that image instead of going to the Discover Room and Suites. That would be where you want a last animation, fade in, pop in, or do whatever animation you want. But I again would have made that part more stand out. And again with the button, I mean, I love the subtleties of all of this. The button is not standing out. Obviously, you know what you're going to do here, but if I hover over that, the circle with the arrow is kind of actually getting lighter and growing a little bit, fine. But what if that circle turned a contrasting color? So whatever color they've used for the text and the font looks to be a light black. What if you filled that circle? So it would really draw my eye. And again, I'm going to the button and I know, okay, I'm supposed to click here. This is great. But anyway, we'll carry on. ChowKit Kitchen Bar. That was kind of better because the animation of the image scrolled down and filled in, and it drew my eye to the bottom of that section, which is where the button is. But again, the button is it's not contrasting enough with the background. Friends of the ChowKit. Yeah. Ooh, so this is a lovely section because that actually, see this contrast between the cream and what I guess is like a dark blue. Yeah. My eyes aren't too bad right now. That is a lovely contrast. So if we were to go think of this dark blue and go back up to the top here, let's say you wrapped this book now button. Let's say you fixed the font and it was this font, for example. And let's say you wrapped it in a dark blue, like a pill shape or just a regular button shape, and it was a nice size. That would draw my eye there straight away. And actually, it would have been maybe nicer if they did all of the text in that blue. So you've got a sort of a color contrast constantly happening. Obviously, there is plenty of contrast with whatever color they've used in the fonts and the copy right now. But that blue is such a lovely blue. Why wouldn't you use that more around? So if you put this blue in this button, so when I mouse over that, that kind of, it popped in a bit of blue and be like, okay, it should go there. Wonderful. Intimate weddings, learn more. Even here, you can see that I don't know what color's behind that. The cream or gray, which I'm assuming that is. There's a little bit more contrast there, but not enough. But I love this, very cool. Great deals. Okay, so that works a little bit better with the circles popping in to show this is where I'm supposed to go. The one thing I might do is as you mouse over each section, you would sort of grow the image. So it would be like a spring coming in. And by the looks of it, the images are having a sort of a dark black gradient going over them. I might go the opposite and do a a white gradient. Not too much, but enough to make it pop to kind of sort of light up essentially. Because what's happening now is it's actually darkening down, so it's actually going away from the contrast. You need it to stand out, so it needs to be going light instead of dark. Neighborhood, again, the buttons, just not enough contrast. Not super big fan of the circles, but that's just me. Right, so that's spring in. You see how this image, or I think all of these images on their social media section, it's instantly grabbing me. If you did that on these, way better. That would be fantastic. It would be absolutely brilliant, that. I think we're almost come to the bottom. Okay, nice little animation there. Highlight the submit button, put it in a box, put it somewhere, not somewhere, but it's in its location. It's in a box. I know I've got to push this button. Again, if you did a rectangle or the pill shape, whatever shape you want to do on the button, but if you did it that blue, and then maybe the font color was this cream, it would be a wonderful contrast and you'd see it immediately. You'd know what you want to do there. And then we're at the bottom and just the usual stuff. This is maybe a bit of a distraction. This background of what I assume is supposed to look like a card of some description. I like the texture behind that though, it's really nice. But this is maybe a bit of a distraction. This watercolor marble effect takes me away from, not to take you away, but yeah. Yeah, so not too many things to change this. The design is, there's a few odd things, but this is not about design. This is about how could we increase conversions. So it would be, if you're going to best rate guarantee, why don't you just, you could sneakily, and this is a bit cheeky, but increase your prices by 5-10%, put that across everywhere, and then do a direct booking on your website minus 10%. And then you haven't lost anything and you should get increased conversions. More contrast with the buttons, more contrast with when you're coming down here with these buttons, with the sections that you want me to go in to explore, make me go there. And I would actually say from a design point of view, each section, it's not quite drawing my eye to the button. If you look at this as a whole, if you were to draw a box around this, I can't for some reason, my mouse is not making boxes. But if you were to draw a box around this, it's one big block. If you separate it out and did text in like an F or a Z, and you brought someone across, or you directed their eye to the bottom right, or to the center where the button would be with a bit of space, and it's like everything's coming down the screen and you're getting drawn to that button, that would be a helpful scenario. But the rest of it is a pretty beautiful site. I will say Malaysia is fantastic. And I actually used to live in Malaysia. Beautiful country. Used to live there when I was a young boy, and my father was working in the oil and gas industry, but not anymore. He is retired and I'm elder. But it was beautiful, wonderful country, beautiful food. I imagine it's changed a lot since I was there 30 odd years ago. But there's nothing else that's grabbed my eye here. I would say, yeah, there's two things. You need that contrast with all the bits. Best rate. If you're going to offer the rate, just offer the rate. Make it easy. Make it an easy choice for me. And then the contrast with the buttons as we're going through. You've got to force me to find the journey, essentially. Show me where I want to go. Don't be so subtle that I don't know where I'm supposed to be going on your site. But either way, it's a beautiful site. I love the typography, love the font choices. Design needs a little bit of alteration in my personal opinion, but that's just my humble opinion. But yes, that's how I would have altered this website to increase their conversion, and hopefully it would work. Stay tuned, and I think I will be doing a redesign maybe of this, or I'm going to go back to the Elmira Paphos website and I'll be doing a full homepage redesign. Thank you very much, and let me know any questions downstairs in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.